Hey, Roberto Monaco here with Chiro Speaking Company and the Chiro Speaking Club, and I'm so excited to have one more interview about charisma on camera. And in this interview, we have my brother, the superstar, the speaking superstar chiropractor, superstar Dr. Chris Zaino. What's up, bud?
Hey, what's up, Roberto? And hello, everybody that's on there. Glad for having me back. Yeah, this is good. I like this today. I like what we're going to talk about today because this yeah.
We're going to have a lot of fun. So for those who don't know, I think it's almost impossible being chiropractic. Don't know who Dr. Zaino is. But Dr. Zaino and I, we hooked up 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
5 years ago, I think around 5 years ago. And has been a big influence in my life. He is the one responsible for me to have my chiropractic story, me and my wife and my baby. Most of you have heard before. Well, Dr. Zaino actually referred me to Dr. Ryan Hummel. And we become friends. We work together. And at one point, Dr. Zaino had one of the largest practices in chiropractic history. And correct if I'm wrong, Dr. Zaino, it was like 2,400 people a week that you were seeing, patients a week. And not only that, but he has built up systems, speaking systems to patient communication systems, dinner the doctor, group doctor reports, and then also he does stuff outside chiropractic in a hero project. So the guy is a powerhouse. I was studying, I was learning, so I'm super grateful to introduce you, Dr. Chris Zaino.
Hey, thanks, Roberto. All right,
Dr. Chris, tell us a little bit about your journey as far as the whole theme today's training is charisma on camera. And let's talk about the video portion first. So what has been your experience, maybe your journey using video?
Well, I mean, I think everybody needs to understand their vehicle of influence, right? There's a vehicle of influence, and these vehicles are free. You know, you got social media. So what is it? You could write a blog, you could do a podcast audio, you could do MP3s, and then you have video, right? Speaking in video. And so my vehicle I chose was speaking in video. And for someone to say they speak and for someone to say they do video, and you know very well, Roberto, because you could speak doesn't mean you could do video, or vice versa.
100%. That's a great distinction right there.
Yes. Because a good friend of ours, Dan Pompa, I remember we did a video with him. He's like, can you have your staff sit in front, behind the camera? I'm like, why? And you're a great speaker. He's like, I need people. Like, so he's a person that gets the energy from the crowd where I could look at a lens of a camera. I'll get that to in a minute. So I started doing video, and you know, when you start doing video, let me go on how the Hero Project worked, because I think part of what I want to talk about is practice, and this gets into the charisma thing later on. So I knew that if I could go online and do a Facebook Live, and I could because I was experimenting with my Hero Project, I was getting these downloads, and when I get these downloads, how do I know the market or you guys that are watching like it? So I would share it. You know, I would go on for 15 minutes and share concept. And I would get the feedback. And then I got great feedback. And then I did it the day after, another 15 minutes. And I found out, like, the more I did it, I wasn't scared. I enjoyed it. I was communicating. Mm-hmm. And 186 days later, or 186, I mean, every day, Facebook Live, video, like I built the entire I Am Hero Project course from the feedback from the market, and things I was testing people liked or they didn't really resonate with. So it was like, wow, like the power of video. But I also noticed how I changed with video. I became more comfortable. And when you I became more comfortable because I became more confident. And then because I became more confident because I had more practice. And when you have confidence and practice, the lens of the camera or the lens of this webcam I'm looking at was not a judgmental. Here, this is the thing. A lot of times when you're in front of video, you're trying to picture people at the other end, and you have insecurities. You think it's judgmental. You think, are they going to like what I have to say? And through practice and consistency and getting comfortable with that, the lens to me, what I'm looking right now, to me, Roberto, it looks like a very endearing eye. It looks like a loving eye looking at me. So it's very easy for me to talk to a loving eye. And so you see the mindset shift, but how I had insecurity, you know, so it all became but I didn't see that. I came from a judgmental, what are people going to think? Are they going to like what I have to say? But when I spoke and I did something, I felt shit, I bombed it, but then people say, this is exactly what I needed to hear. You changed my life. So I realized that even on my worst day, even if I feel I didn't have something to say correctly, it still was benefiting people. So the camera, the lens became a loving eye. Like it was like speaking in front of an audience, Roberto, where you know everybody loves you. It's a much better crowd. so that's that's kind of the mindset. But there's a lot of but the practice, the consistency, the everydayness of it brought the confidence, and then confidence. Now we get into what charisma is. How can I connect?
Before we get into this, you said something that the couple things that I picked up. One, the lens is a loving eye. I'm gonna adopt that. I'm gonna steal that from you. I'll give credit to you, but I like that. I love that.
Man, it is
really good. And for those who don't know, Dr. Chris Zaino, man, how many live talks have you done before recording videos? A couple thousand?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of what's fascinating. A lot of people think, well, man, here's a guy who done a couple thousand talks, right? And then embrace video, because he said, as I started doing video, I became even more comfortable and then more confidence. Man, it's weird, but it doesn't matter how much skill you have, some people think that a lot of video marketers, and they do a lot of video, man, you put them on stage, they freeze. Yeah. They're not good, right? And the opposite too. When I was at Tony Robbins camp, I had my couple thousand talks too, and I remember recording my first videos. I felt really awkward, and I felt like I couldn't do any message less than 15 minutes because I didn't know how to communicate in 3 minutes or 5 minutes, So I appreciate you sharing that. So let's talk about charisma. I think charisma is really important. There's different definitions. And a lot of people think charisma is something that you're just born with. It's not a skill to develop. I have a different mindset. I think charisma is something that you can turn it on, turn it off. So let me ask you, how you define charisma?
I define it as attractiveness. So it's attractiveness by both men and female. Attractiveness that is due to a high level of self-confidence that was put there through practice of your purpose, practice of your message, and certainty of what your purpose is in life. So I think there was actually, like you said, things to get to that point. That's where that confidence and attractiveness comes from, because I know I've been there where I lost it, and I know exactly why I did. I would say I'm a very charismatic person and very attractive to people in that way when I speak, because I know all the work I put behind it. So that resonates and comes through.
So for you, because you had several quote unquote elements, so for you it's practice of purpose. What else is said? Purpose?
So, practice, just practice. So like, remember when we did that hero talk? I practiced that thing. And when I practiced it, I was confident. See, it's attractiveness. They sense your confidence. Your confidence was because you practiced.
Okay.
Right? And you practiced in a way, you didn't practice, like practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So that's why, Roberto, what do? I sent you videos. Like, I did not practice.
Yeah.
Guys, you got to understand, I did not practice my talk by reading my talk. Imagine this. Like, can I tell you a story about Justice and Chuck Norris?
Yeah, I love that.
So Justice, he was the bow. He was a world championship in doing the bow. The bow staff. Yeah. So he was kind of on the sidelines, and he was practicing at half speed, and like he was like rehearsing in his mind, and just kind of. And then his teacher goes, he's like, Is that the form you're going to perform at the World Championships? He's like, well, yeah, I'm practicing. He's like, no. He's like, every time you do that form, you need to do it as if you're being judged for the World Championships. He's like, you got to get your entire nervous system into it. So how many of you guys are watching this and you do your talk by reading it in your head, but you take away the body language, you take away you take away so many of the most important elements. So when I worked for Roberto, I sent him, I videotaped everything and everything. It was uncomfortable. It sucked, but I practiced. I did perfect practice. And then the more I practiced, the more confident I was in my messages and my talk. And now when I'm confident and I show up, the confidence goes through, and that becomes very attractive, which is then charisma.
I love that. Yeah, and remember too, something I think one of my grateful for in my relationships, coaching relationships, is that I learned so much, and something that I learned from you, man, is the speed of implementation. I think from everybody I ever work with, I think as far as someone not only implements, but implements fast is you. And I remember you sending the videos, and I'm like, okay, man, go make these changes. And I was like, do that an hour later, bing, a video. I'm like, good, this guy.
Roberto, low die. Well, but you taught me low die monster.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't. My trade isn't speed implementation. Everybody, my trade is I'm like anybody else. My trade is, Roberto, I want to get through the uncomfortableness as fast as possible, because like you think you're going to start doing videos.
Oh, that's good line. That's
no,
good
that's
line.
that's what speed of implementation is, isn't it? It's like I want to get my ass kicked as quick as I can so I can get past that, and then it's good, right? Because we don't like the beginning.
Oh man, that's a good line.
It's not a line, Roberto. It's like remember in martial arts, when you do martial arts, the first couple years, but like it's like how can I squeeze that learning process? And let's go. Let me do it. Let me get punched. Right in a fight, you get punched first. Then you're like, okay, let's go. Okay, I got it.
That's a good philosophy. That's a great philosophy. So we talk a little bit about video. Talk about your journey through video, charisma. So if there's anybody listening to us right now, and I noticed that there's some people that obviously now with the whole what's available to us, right? From YouTube. When I started video marketing in 2009, man, check this out. Didn't have Facebook video, didn't have live. LinkedIn didn't have video. LinkedIn has live now. So all these things, Instagram didn't exist. And I feel like more and more we have all these opportunities. So what are some tips that maybe some of your routines, some of your practice, some things that tangibles people can do to present and speak with charisma in front of a camera?
Practice, do it every day, and do it every day. But what I want you to do it every day, knowing that, like, I remember, Berto, like when I started doing it, we all have our good topics, right? So after about 2 weeks, I'm like, I'm running out of my good stuff. And then I want everybody to get there, because then when you run out of your good stuff, then you have to have you have to trust your instincts to be able to always provide. So then after a while, I realized I ran out of my good stuff. Then I had another topic, and I had another topic, and then I was able to. Then I got into a mode of creation, and I was able to create, and then you get the confidence. See, it's confidence to say, I have unlimited content. And then when you get to this, you see the confidence came. The confidence came, though, by going, I ran out of my good Success 101 answer content that I always say. So now I got to create new stuff. And then I created new stuff, and I was confident that I could do this. And I realized, wow, life gives me a topic every day. And so the universe gives me unlimited content. I'll never run out of content. So that extra confidence, see, it's the journey of it, but it doesn't happen by waiting it. You just got to do it, and you got to feel like, wow, today sucked. My talk sucked. But people feedback, hey, that was great. I needed to hear that. You changed my life. It's like, wow. So I realized I was having a weak moment. I was not confident. But when it comes to speaking and talks, it doesn't mean you just haphazard, you just kind of just show up and wing it. It's like, no, you got to have preparation. Like any type of athlete, they prepare between the performances. So, Roberto, maybe we should go over like what is an easy preparation routine of doing a daily video, right? Because let's say, a talk, we get it. We're prepping. Yeah. We know your sequence of doing a talk and a keynote, but like on a daily routine, what is like a quick boom, 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 and then so we could kind of get in a flow of a talk.
So what I like to my kind of like when I do short videos, marketing videos, I like to outline my talk. For example, if I'm doing what I learned throughout the years, that before the old Roberto, before video marketing, I would get a camera, I would outline it, and I was like, man, if I don't do like a full blown, almost like a keynote on video, I'm not serving. That was my old mindset, and which was, I believe, is wrong, because I feel like now we still did the study and we still host videos, and they have millions and millions of videos to measure the stats, and the average viewing time of video is 2 minutes. Now that does not mean that if you record a 5-minute video or 10-minute video, people are not going to watch, right? Because people watch TED Talks. But the likelihood is that the longer you go, the harder it is. So now if I'm doing a 3-minute video, I focus on one idea, just one core message, so what's my major point to claim? Number 2, I do the best I can to come up like an illustration or story. Sometimes it's a real story, sometimes it's a hypothetical example, or sometimes analogy, and I train. That's something developed over the years. Like, let me give an example. And I have this phrase, let me give an example. 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 So when I drive the point home, I go, let me give an example. And then I tell the story, tell the analogy or hypothetical example, and then I do some type of call to action. And then I really go, I don't write. I just outline 2 or 3 things. I go out a couple times, and then I record it. So that's my methodology. I do rehearse, but I don't do 20 times. I rehearse a couple of times and I feel it. And so in the marketing videos. Now, obviously, if I'm doing
like a sales video?
Yeah, sales video, then there's more. There's way more. Yeah, there's more. You know what I mean? How do you do it?
Oh, no. I said all you have to do is click below and get Roberto's daily video template right now. There you go. That's good. See, that's a video, right?
Yeah. So I think that's. I want to talk about 2 things that I think you're brilliant at. One, I remember when I want to talk about vulnerability and how to create content quickly before we wrap up. How does someone become? Because I remember watching when you knew Chiro, man. Some videos were emotional. I think you had tear eye and all that stuff. I remember watching when you launched the series. So what is why becoming vulnerable in front of a camera and sharing? Why is that?
I can connect. Number one, it gives me freedom. It gives me healing, and that's the best way I connect with the crowd. That's my favorite way to connect with them. Because honestly, on stage, Roberto, because I'm going through transitions in my life right now, and I'm kind of numb on the outside and on the inside. And I got to speak the other weekend, and that was the only time I teared up in months, dude. And it's like I miss that, and to access that level of emotion. So stage for me
is healing.
Is the most authentic. It's the place that gives me the most authentic permission to be who I was created to be. And yeah, I missed it. I was like, man, wow, it was kind of nice because, I was kind of numb due to certain circumstances, and I was able to get emotional, and I missed that.
That's powerful. And the idea about creating content, I love the distinction because I relate, it's crazy. Like when I start doing one of my first series I recorded on YouTube was how to speak with confidence. That was literally 2010, and I had the green screen. I recorded, and I recorded 7 videos. And in my head, I'm like, okay, I'll never talk about fear anymore. I think I solved the problem. I mean, literally, I recorded 7 videos, and I was like, man. And fast forward 10 years ago, it's still a big problem people have. You know what I mean? And so now what I learned throughout the years, is that muscle about how to talk about the same thing in a different way. You know what I mean? How do you illustrate? So what are some of the strategies that you develop because I think that to be charismatic, to have the energy, you prepare, but you got to feel the content. So what are maybe a couple tips that you have from building content?
Well, I think you're right. It's like when you say, well, let me give you an example.
Yeah.
So when we say that, let me give you an example. I'm pulling from, like Roberto, can I tell you about my son and his bow staff? Because now I get to go into something that meant a lot to me. And I
love that. Yeah.
So remember, excitement, enthusiasm is a beautiful thing to do. So yeah, it's how do you find a story that means something to me? So let me give an example, and I'll tell you the story. And it's usually something, we have stories that are happening. Probably like when you start to realize stories are happening all over, you get 10, 15 stories a day if you choose. So that's what I feel like. I think it's the examples we use. And then I gave myself permission to do it because, like today, for instance, people, their entire career is based on fasting, and I'm like, and I always said like, how do you write a book on fasting? Like, don't eat, like it would blew my mind, Roberto, that someone could do podcasts, daily videos, write books, and make 7 figures a year talking about not eating. And it's like, how many questions could you say? So I was like, you know what? Number one, they're excited about the topic. And when they're excited about the topic, they get the stories. But it's like, there's no variance, guys. It's like, I blew my mind, so I realized like there's no excuse when it comes to
good, dude.
There's zero excuse. So.
Oh, that's good, Dr. Z. I'm sure people always love to hear from you. What is the best way people plug into your services, into your network, into your groups? What's the best way to do that?
You could check it. I got a really good masterclass for everybody. If you go to iamhero.com, and check it out. A really good masterclass on some of the concepts we stepped into. Because remember, if when you got to realize the definition of hero is someone who is admired and idealized for courage, contribution, outrageous achievement, and nobility. And when you could get the inner confidence saying, listen, my message count and it's important. If we're talking about charisma, you have to give yourself permission to be the hero. Heroes have charisma, baby. When they show up, it's like the thing is, it has to start there, because if you build this whole beautiful thing and the foundation isn't there, and you're down on yourself and insecure, it's a house of cards that topples onto you. So this is something, chiropractic or not a chiropractor, everything's here. That program will definitely get you started. At least the masterclass will give you so much information. So check it out.
Love that, buddy. My brother, thanks so much. I love you, bro. Thanks so much for sharing your wisdom. And we talk soon. Dr. Chris Zaino.
Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate that.